Well, hello everybody, welcome. I am Lisa Petrich, the Youth Director here at Unity of Olympia, and I am so glad you've joined me here today. We have a great lesson, continuing our series of Finding Your Zen, and our lesson today is on energy, slime, and being alive. But let's go ahead and start with prayer. Now, when we start with prayer, we recognize the light that's within inside of us and every one that we meet, each and every one that we meet. And we say this prayer together. Thank you, Spirit, for bringing us here together today. May we live, love, and grow from one another. May we be present and mindful to our own self-awareness. Now, I do want to say, well, let's go through. We'll talk about that in just a moment. So first we have our quote for today. Our quote for today is, don't ask the world, ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is more people who have come alive. That is just a powerful statement to me. And we'll talk more about that later as well. So let's talk about our mindfulness tool today. Our mindfulness tool, now remember I geared the beginning of this lesson toward the little ones. My intention is to have a family lesson here, so we get a little harder as this goes along. But let's start with the little ones. And we talk about EFT. Now last week we did the EFT. I'm just reviewing these points. If you want to, you can go back to last week's lesson if you want to become more familiar with it. But I really wanted to talk about doing the affirmations as you do this. It's really powerful to affirm to yourself what you want as you do your tapping. So let's say you want to pick an affirmation that you're having maybe with your friends. Maybe there's something going on where you want to be a good friend. So even just saying to yourself as you tap, even though my friends and I are having troubles today, I can be a good friend. Or maybe you want something and you're not getting it. So reminding yourself and tapping through, even though I don't have exactly what I want right now, I am blessed. It is really important when things aren't going the way we want to remind ourselves of the good in our lives. And that doesn't mean we don't feel the stuff that's happening, but it does mean when you're ready to turn it around, that you use the tools you have to turn the experience around for you. So you can be happier, you can be more successful in life. So let's move forward. I hope you enjoy those affirmations. I will include those in our weekly letter. Excuse me. So we're going to go to our energy slime. Energy slime. Oh, look how much fun this is. All right. So energy slime. This is our movement activity. It says, you can read the card with me. This slime reacts to energy just like people do. You can squeeze it with high energy and release it with low energy. Notice how you feel before and after you make and play with it. So it says what you're going to need, and I have those ingredients here. We're going to start with some cornstarch. And this cornstarch, I kind of gave a heaping bowl of it. And I'm going to put a little bit in and see if I have to use a little more. But the cornstarch looks like this bottle. Oh, you can barely see that because of the light there. There you go. The cornstarch looks like this box, and you can get that at your local grocery store. And then you take so you have this powdery substance, and then you take some water and you pour it into the powdery substance. Now, do you think my hands are going to get a little messy today? I think my hands are going to get a little messy today. And let's see what we got. So I'm going to not pour all of it in. I'm going to see what happens with what I have here. Can I just tell you, it's like nice and gooey here. Nice and gooey. Let's put it over this way. Nice and gooey. So now for those of you in school, you may have made this before. It is called oobleck. It's another thing we make it. And we talk about oobleck when we talk about, is it a liquid or is it a solid? Is it a liquid or is it a solid? And what you do is you take the cornstarch, you put it in there, and then you take the water and you add just some water into it, and then you mix it all up, and you see, is it a liquid, is it a solid? And when you push on it, it actually is a hard feeling. And when you let it go, it's a liquid. It's a lower feeling. Now when I'm looking at this right now, it feels too liquidy, so I'm going to put some more cornstarch in there. More cornstarch. We'll go with it. And I even had nicely spilled some on my desk here. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that in there as well. Throw that in there as well. I'm making a good mess today, people. You know, teaching sometimes you need to make a mess. You need to make a mess. So I'm going to mix this up a little bit. Now our energy slime, they show you there, we can put food coloring in. I did not bring food coloring in. Sometimes the food coloring can dye your hands, and I didn't want to do that. So if you want to do this at home, you need to get yourself a grown-up to do it with you, because it gets really messy. Look at that. Now, and there's a Science Max that I know of. I should probably told you this at the end, but I'll tell you now. There's a Science Max that I know of on, if you ever watch Science Max on the YouTube channel, and the Science Max maxes it out to where he fills a whole container with it, and he walks on it. He walks on it. All right. So let's see what we got here. Let's turn into the back of our card to talk a little bit more about our energy slime. Here we go. So it says, try squeezing your slime. Notice how the slime reacts. So I think I'm actually going to put even a little more cornstarch in here. A little more. It said it needed 1.5 cups, so but I thought if I stocked it with the water, it would be okay. So it says, notice how you feel, and it feels in your hand. So we're almost to that point where I could bring it out. It's still mixing up a little bit. It's still really ooblecky. And you want to get it to a point where it's a solid that turns into a liquid. I'm making such a mess here, everybody. I am making a really big mess. It's going to be fun to see how the rest of this goes with this mess. The best laid out plans, right? So it looks like a liquid, doesn't it? All right. And then when you pick it up, when you feel it, it's like a hard. I think it almost needs some more cornstarch. We're going for more cornstarch. Because right now it's almost to the right consistency, but not enough. It's still too liquidy. It still feels like a liquid. I can't pick it up and show it to you, right? I can't pick it up and show you, but I can tell you it's a lot of fun to make. So cornstarch and water. It's really, it can give you a good time, but big mess. You want to put down towels. You want to put down, you want to put down towels. You want to put down plastic or something to protect your tables. Here we go. And make sure you have a vacuum handy and maybe a cloth wipe, okay? All right, now we're getting to it. Now it's coming, all right? Because what I wanted you to see, so when I started thinking about what's the metaphysics of this, what lesson could we take from oobleck? Because you know, with the teacher, everything's a lesson, guys. My kids used to say, why do you make everything a lesson? I say, because I'm a teacher. The lesson with this, and even for our older students, not old people, but older students, the lesson in this is that when you push real hard, when you push on this, it feels hard. I mean, it feels, see, it's getting thicker. It feels hard when you push on it. The pressure of it is hard. I mean, I could put, when I stick my hand in there, it doesn't go all the way to the bottom. It takes a while. It's like, maybe like what you would think of quicksand, okay? So the lesson in this is when you push real hard on something, it pushes back. So when you're trying to make something happen, and sometimes it isn't happening, it isn't going the way you want it to go, it pushes real back. It pushes back, right? See, because this feels like a solid, and then it just kind of melts in your hand, or off your hand. But you can pick it up. But when you push on it, it pushes back. So sometimes in life when we're trying to make something happen, we get pushed back. And maybe it's not supposed to happen just yet. And a lot of times we don't like that. But guess what? Guess what? if you just kind of relax with it and go with the flow, it all just kind of releases, doesn't it? No more pushback. No more pushback. No more pushback. So what do you think? Did we have fun? Now this is what it tells us to do. Let's get the card out. Oh, the card. The card says something about inhaling. So I see that. It says when you release the energy, it softens again. We did that. And it says inhale while squeezing your slime and exhale while releasing your slime. So if I take it and I try to get it, I'm going to, and then as I release it, breathing in through our nose like we're smelling something pretty, like a flower. And then we take it and we pick it up and then we release it. That's a way to play with slime. Make it a mindfulness activity. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was fun. I don't know if I want to put it down. I'm having so much fun, but I think I need to because we need to move on. We need to move on. All right, let's go ahead and go to our Made Out of Stars quote. And we'll talk about that while I'm cleaning up my hands from the slime. Here we go. It's coming. If you breathe in and are if you breathe in and are aware that you are alive, that you can touch the miracle of being alive, then that is a kind of enlightenment. Enlightenment. So let's talk a little bit about what that means. So when I think about being alive, I think there's different stages of being alive. I think that, and this is from Thich Nhat Hanh, and I want to think what you think of being alive. So what does being alive mean to you? Being alive to a small child might mean to be loved or to have a friend. Being alive to an older child in school might mean being able to move or do something that they weren't able to do before, like run real fast or jump rope 100 times. Being alive to a teenager might mean privileges that they get to do and be able to maybe be with their friends or connect with others. And being alive for an adult might mean finding the right job or career, having a purpose in life. But for Thich Nhat Hanh, it meant to breathe in and touch the miracle of life, to be in an enlightened state. Some of us might feel intimidated by those words, or they just that they're words and you don't feel that miracle. You're like, okay, someone out there felt that it was an enlightened state, but that doesn't mean I feel that I'm in an enlightened state. And what I want to say is that we have to disconnect sometimes from the computers and the TVs. To feel that enlightenment, you really have to do your own inner work. You have to be aware of the world around you and do things that are separate, sometimes or do mindful things like we've talked about. Doing things such as planting a garden or just reading a book, maybe a nonfiction book, because it's not about a fantasy world. When you're mindful, it's about being really aware. So and taking yourself away from the TVs and the phones and the video games and bringing yourself back to the present moment, bringing yourself into where you need to be. So, or bringing yourself in that now moment and releasing that technology. And I gotta say, in today's world, kids are really going through some of the most strange times or different times than we've ever experienced. And I feel for all of the children and adults that are trying to work with remote learning and Zoom meetings and watching your youth ed director give a talk on a video instead of being in person, being able to work together. And I just want to say that, with all that bombardment of energy from, everything that we're doing seems to be locked into our computers and our phones, and it's a lot. So really taking the time, even if it's 15 minutes, turning off everything and just finding something to do for 15 minutes that doesn't involve technology. It can help reduce anxiety. It can help bring you back to the present moment. Sometimes have you ever played a video game so long that you just got irritated with it because it was just like not going your way, and or you've just been on it all day and you found yourself like really sleepy? That can happen. The technology can drain us. So it's really important to take those mindfulness. And when you turn yourself inward more often and you really work on that self-awareness, that's when you can come to enlightenment through your breath and through the miracle of life. That's how you are going to shift your thinking from that technology world and that gotta do world to this is where I am, and just be who you are. I hope that helped. So turn it all off, take time with a pet, draw a picture, read a nonfiction book, make a recipe you haven't done. It has its place for us. Technology does, but find ways to unplug. So we're going to connect the quote with Made Out of Stars with the quote from the beginning, which said, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive and go do it. What is it that really makes you come alive? What is it that excites you about life? Do more of that. Be more of that. Because what the world needs is more people to come alive. And when you come alive, you enlighten yourself. When you come alive, you enlighten yourself. And those things are so connected. So finding what makes you come alive encourages you to take your power back and feel some purpose in life. So moving through this week, take some time to unplug. Start with a few minutes each day to turn off all the technology and create a space for your mind to think freely. Then take out your journal page and put pen to paper and write. Breathe in. Recognize that you're alive in a world that is very much alive. And what does it mean to be alive? And and when you think about what does it mean to be alive, it can, the inner workings of our brain and our thought patterns can be an endless cycle. As well as we've only seen a fraction of the earth. No matter who you are, you've only seen a fraction of this earth. And it's a beautiful world that we live in. All right, so I make the commitment to turn off technology for 1 hour a day and do something mindful. Do you? Do you? All right, we are going to move to our quote from Bob Sima. So we're going to play the song. Gotta love our Bob Sima. Thank you, Bob. Alright. The looser the grip, the lighter the load. Our card today is flow. And it says the need to win will drain you of power. So let's talk some more about that with the back of the card. It says an old Zen story of an archery competition ends with the master asking the students which competitor will win. The students proclaim that the winner will be the one who is feverishly grabbing the arrows, watching the scoreboard, and demonstrating a strong desire to win. The other competitor is slowly plucking arrows, drawing his bow, and taking aim. He is not concerned with the score or the pace, just with the act of shooting arrows. He, of course, wins. As the master explains, he is in the flow, and the other competitors will lose because his need to win drains him of his power. How often do we give ourselves a chance to simply shoot arrows and get into the flow without concern for results or scores or progress? Our commitment is, today I will get into the flow and remain unattached to the outcome. So how about you? That it's kind of like that oobleck I was just doing. And when you push down on it and you're pushing so hard and you're trying to make it happen, It may not happen like what you want, but the trick is to be relaxed and move forward with intention. Relax and move forward with intention. Oh, I've really enjoyed being here with you today and all of the fun we've had. We're going to close now with our unity principles. Our unity principles are: number one, God is good and active in everything everywhere. Number two, I am naturally good because God's divinity is in me and in everyone. Number three, I create my experiences by what I choose to think and what I feel and believe. Number four, through affirmative prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. Number five, I do and give my best by living the truth. I know I make a difference. Now you think about those principles and maybe decide, which one did we talk about the most today? How do they relate to our lessons today? And our final closing is the prayer for protection. Please say it with me. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love of God. The power of God protects us. We are the power of God. And the presence of God watches over us. We are the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you. Thank you for joining me here today. We'll see you next week.